right, welcome to another episode of the Bulldog Bark. I'm yours truly, the Guru. Got my full cast with me today. We got MD the Dream, Michael DeRosa. We got BFC Butler's Fighting Crew and Kyle the Butler fan. All right, boys. So Butler is currently on a three-game losing streak. There's really no other way to put it. Extremely disappointed, especially in last week. You know, the loss at Creighton. So just to kind of recap, Butler lost at Creighton, then home to Villanova and home to St. John's. All Q1 games that Butler could have really used. Dropped all three. The Creighton one was kind of whatever. At Creighton, we never win in Omaha. Lost by 4. We're going to focus a lot more on last week. Butler lost 85-67 to Villanova and 84-70 to St. John's. Butler is now 10-6, 1-4 in the Big East. Not an ideal start to Big East play, especially after the non-conference start and getting the win over Providence to start Big East play. So obviously we'll dive into the next game. Butler plays Xavier next this Wednesday, what feels like it's been forever. But it'll be kind of our first opportunity playing a team kind of on the bottom half of the Big East, which honestly could not have come at a better time, especially after last week. But anyway, so again, rough week for the Dogs. And I'll just be plain and simple, unacceptable to lose the way they did at home, both those games. And we'll dive into it more, obviously, but both games had led at half against Villanova, and then were tied at half against St. John's, and got kind of blown out in the second half of both of them, which unfortunately has become kind of an MO of the current staff, and we will probably talk a little bit about that as well. So, Michael, I'll pass it off to you first, man. Kind of give me your thoughts on the past week for the Butler Bulldogs.
I thought the Villanova game was more discouraging to me because I don't know, St. John's to me is just the worst matchup this group has in the Big East because that's a team that, if they want to, they can really defensive rebound. They have a matchup for Ajayi and Dylan Mitchell, and they have the guards that can really pressure ours. Their guards aren't great, but one thing they can do well is they run a pressure, and they forced 21 turnovers for this team, so it worked. That one didn't discourage me as much as the Villanova game, where the team came out of the second half. I saw a lot of people complaining like effort level and like I don't know. I think they had like a flat couple minute stretch. Like that's kind of normal in basketball. I didn't think it was a consistent thing. I thought more so. One, we just couldn't stop a Caden, no matter who you put on him. And to his credit, he's spectacular. But it was just bad defense on Butler's part. They didn't guard a ball screen. And the one play that I think kind of was like that, the nail in the coffin for me was like almost immediately after halftime. They go on a 4-0 spurt, and then I don't remember. It was like Finley missed 2 wide open ones, and then there's another play. I don't remember if this was off of Finley miss or someone else, but they get it. They get a transition look. Finley is back and could run out and contest Bryce Lindsey when you have enough guys back, and he just didn't. He just didn't close it out. Bryce Lindsey hits a step in 10-toe 3, 7-0 run. They extended their 14-2 run out of the half, and that was the game for me. But just the way we couldn't guard Villanova at all. We didn't have an answer to their pick and roll, which is something we have not had an answer for all season. And they just kind of ran back the Northwestern game plan. I mean, not the Northwestern game plan, excuse me, the Boise State game plan of just send a couple guys at Finley, get him off his game, bully Ajayi. It's not even the most physical guy in the world, but he was still pushing around Ajayi, made him settle for a lot of jumpers late in the first half, early in the second half. And they just kind of ran that back, and it's been the same game plan that's beaten us a couple times. That's the most discouraging part to me is just the plan was laid out by Boise, and then we had 10 days to see if there was anything we could do to adjust to it. And the answer very clearly to this point has been no.
Yep. Nope. Agree with everything you just said. Also, I know you harped on defense. I'm sure BFC and Kyle talk about it, but just to kind of exacerbate the problem is if Butler's not playing defense, which they have not been playing defense, they also were atrocious shooting in that game, in the Villanova game specifically. They shot fine in the St. John's game, but 24 for 63, 6 for 27 from 3. The craziest thing is they actually out-rebound, like for a rebounding team, which Villanova is, they actually out-rebounded them just like the Creighton game. But if you're not hitting shots, not hitting second opportunities, that does not matter at all. BFC, how about you, man?
Yeah, I agree with Michael. I think, St. John's to me is a team they're an easy matchup for a lot of teams that can match them with physicality. if you have the same level of athlete as they do, we saw it with, Arkansas last year in the tournament. All you kind of have to do is hit a couple more shots than them. And frankly, with the way that Patino has built teams, that's not normally too difficult to do. But they're a nightmare matchup for Butler because we just simply don't have the same level of athleticism as they do. And that's shown over the last couple of years. We've had massive, massive problems with them, kind of regardless of who we throw out there. But Villanova was really discouraging. And I think the biggest thing for me, and I know we, have obviously kind of been skating around it just because we're hopeful fans, is we are simply just getting out coached at halftime. We've been in it in almost every game, leading or within striking range at halftime. And
I just want to quickly fill in the stat there because I was gonna led at half against SMU. So 4 out of the 6 losses, we've basically been tied or leading. We were leading against SMU, lost. Boise State, I'm calling it a tie, even though we were down by 2, but it's basically a tie game. Villanova up by 3, and then St. John's tied and lost all 4 of those in the second half. Anyway, keep going. Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that shows that talent-wise, we have enough talent to compete. We have enough talent to be a tournament team. We have good players. But if it happens a couple times, it may just be, a flash in the pan, but it's happening so consistently that is just what the problem is. You can't go into halftime, see the adjustments that other teams are making and that other teams are having success making. Like if Michael is the big part of the offense for the first half, they're making adjustments to stop him and get somebody else going. And then we're just kind of running the same plays into the ground. And it's pretty easy to see that's the big issue. Patino came out, and he made adjustments. He knew, all right, we're going to throw everything at Stink. He's a freshman guard, and he was complimentary of him after the game, but at the same time, he knew he was a freshman guard, and no one else was coming to help him in the backcourt, which was a huge problem. You saw some players, I'm not going to name, I don't like singling guys out, but you saw some players just jumping up with their hands up on the other side of midcourt, not helping Stink, and he's getting double teamed and just harassed. But then there's also no coaching adjustment there to fix it. So I think that's the problem. I don't think we're going to see the improvement we need until the coaching and the adjustments are on par with the rest of the league. So that's just the big issue to me.
Yeah, and I think to your point, you said we've kind of danced around. We have. We're optimistic fans, and we want to believe that the staff will get the job done. But honestly, we just got to say I didn't count the number of games last year, but we know that one of the biggest problems last year was we would lead games at half and we would lose the game. Like it was like almost like clockwork. It was like scary, and it seems like the same thing's happening. So, hey, props to the staff for having a good game plan coming in, but you got to make those in-game adjustments, and there's no one else to look at other than the staff at that point because it's the same player, same team, and it's just it's like the second half is just every time it just looks like a whole different game. So, it is what it is, and that's a huge problem for us. So, Kyle, how about you, man?
Yeah, I think this is less coaching, but because we know and we have known, we have known that this team struggles coming out of half. There's been these moments that are so infuriating in the first half when we're up and we're up by like 8 or 9 or 7, and we get a turnover and we are going the other way, and then we just throw the ball out of bounds. And that is so frustrating because we know where we are as a team when we go into halftime. Like all the fans of this team understand that. So there were opportunities in the Villanova and St. John's game to not put the teams away. They absolutely would have probably still come back and made close games. But instead of a 3-point game and a tie game at half, like a 10-point game at half. And those singular moments that shifted the momentum like late in the first half, so killer. I know that's not like an overarching problem because they're, I guess, singular moments, but just wanted to point that out. With the Creighton loss, it's It's tough. There was a lot of factors, right, with Ajayi getting in foul trouble and fouling out, which has happened twice now with the foul trouble. And it's simply put, I think we all know. I think it was BFC who said, I don't want to say, I think it was BFC who said in a direct message somewhere that Ajayi was a plus and a plus minus in the St. John's game, which is insane. I'm pretty sure it was BFC who said that. And it makes sense because when he's on the floor, whether or not he's getting pushed around physically more than we'd like him to, he makes such a difference. The other team has to focus on him. And when he's off the floor, we're just a different team. And so that happened in Creighton and St. John's. And it's tough. But the most discouraging thing to me, personally, is not a super this is not a super intricate basketball analysis, but it just sucks getting blown out at Hinkle. It really sucks. I hate having your home floor be somewhere where you're 5 minutes left and you know the game is over and you're down 15. It just sucks. And I just think that that's the sign of a team that has plenty of time and opportunities to turn it around. We've seen all the bracketologists. We're still there. Like we still have an opportunity, but it's hard not to feel discouraged as a fan. And I understand the discouragement when you're at Hinkle Fieldhouse against teams who are probably going to make the tournament, and getting blown out in the second half. And the game's a foregone conclusion to the bad guys in with 5 minutes left. So it's tough. It's discouraging. But listen, they had a week. And so we'll see. I mean, Xavier, I know we'll talk about it, but they just blew out Providence on their home floor. So I think we should beat Xavier. I think we're a better team than Xavier. But they're not going to roll over and die for us. So, we'll see what the staff came up with.
So, Kyle, two things to what you said, and I said this to one of my buddies. I literally said we're allergic to extending leads. Like it felt like, to your point, like it feels like we'll get like that 7 that we have a chance of that kill shot, especially when you're home in Hinkle and you have a chance to get the crowd just going absolutely nuts. And the play you're talking about is when Yame turned it over on the breakaway in the St. John's game. We were up 7, had all the momentum, turned it over. They quickly went on like a 6-7-0 run or something like that. Even the Villanova game, I mean, we were up 8, we were up 31-23. And we had like 10 opportunities. I think 10's exaggeration, but I think we had like 4 or so opportunities where they missed their shots and we had an opportunity to extend the lead and we either turned it over or just missed every single one of the shots. The same thing happened in the Northwestern game. It's a very common theme actually with this team where they just get this like 7-8 point lead, but they're just unable, or even the South Carolina game. Like they never put like, it just seems like they just cannot get that kill shot to go down. And when you let a team like St. John's or something stay in it, they're gonna beat you. Like that's gonna happen. So I agree with you 100%. And then to your other point, you're talking about being like discouraged versus like the metrics, and I think that's what is such a struggle right now for me as a fan. Because you're right, we're all discouraged by like what we saw last week. And granted, it was only a week of play, and I get it. Like it was a bad week, like a really bad week. You have to protect home court. But you keep wanting to think of the back end, and I'm going to keep cheering for this team. Obviously, I think there's some fans out there that have like just like completely cashed it in, and I'm like, look, if game by game, you just got to keep playing. But it's this like battle of feeling discouraged and like feeling the season's over, but then also realizing that the season's not over because Butler did really well for themselves in non-conference, and the Virginia win's tracking really well. Boise State, get your heads out of your ass, I swear to God. But otherwise, like it's really, you just got to get some wins. And obviously next Wednesday's a big opportunity to kind of get back on track. So
like the frustrating part is that it's still, like you said, it is there for us.
Mhm.
If like we built up enough goodwill that it is there for us, but the reason the fan base is kind of crashing out, I'm guilty of that probably more than I should be at times. But like the reason is legitimate, that it's how the team looks on the floor, not how the team looks in bracketology. And the team in bracketology is still right there. Do I believe right now that the team that we're putting on the floor? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, like I said, they had a week.
Also, one more thing, and then we'll kind of move forward. But I know all 4 of us were kind of talking like off air when Jalen Jackson went down, and we were kind of saying like, if there was one guy that was maybe the most like expendable that we could like survive of the starters, like maybe that would be the one, just because we still had Ajayi and Finley and and Kaiser. And, game by game, I'm starting to think that actually we were just completely wrong in that assessment. And then it's really because, and I kind of mentioned it the other day, we've only had one like point guard in like 4 years of Thad Matta, which is kind of insane, is when Posh. And I know that Jalen's not like the most pure point guard, but if you look at his stats through the first, like, through our non-conference, he was averaging like 4 points, slaying assists per game. Him and Finley clearly had a chemistry together. Like, it was just, they complement each other really well. And this point guard by committee, going from a 30 minute per game guy who is a floor general, is a senior leader, to now you're going with a point guard by committee from two freshmen. And again, I've loved the way Stink. I really have, and this is not a knock against them whatsoever. But they're freshmen. It's going from to a point guard committee of Stink, who's the only actually true point guard, and then Fosa, not a true point guard, also a freshman, and Yame, not a true point guard. I think it's been. I think that was a lot bigger hit than we maybe anticipated it being, because. And I was surprised by when I commented that, how many people felt like he wouldn't have made any difference. I'm just like, that's an interesting take, but okay. Yeah, I don't know. It just, I think more and more we just don't look like the team we did when he was on the court, and is what it is. But anyway, anything else you guys want to add to those games? I'm trying to kind of forget about them, but anything else you guys want to add on them?
I think if there's one thing I want to mention that will kind of lead into how I break down the next game, it is that if you look at like you can go on KenPom, you can just check like the conference only tab, which like only includes like conference play. And the defense has just been like that bad. Like, they're the worst defense in the conference just in the few games, worst effective field goal percentage. Teams are shooting 58.5% from two against us. That's the worst in the conference by a decent margin. We're shooting 48% from two on the other side, just to compare the two. That teams are just clearly beating us inside. And early in the season, one thing we just really had going for us was we were hitting threes and other teams weren't. In conference play, it's completely flipped. We're shooting under 30% from three. Other teams against us are shooting 37.2% from three against us. The defense just has respectfully been unacceptable. It's a complete joke.
And actually, to that point, I agree with you 100%, by the way. Yes, we've given up over 80 points in every single game. So yes. But the zone, let's run it more. I actually liked it more. Let's run it more.
It worked for a bit.
I'm not saying throw it out there all the time. I know they were protecting Ajayi in that one because he had the fouls and everything. But like, throw a little. What's the worst that could happen? I mean, we look terrible on defense. I mean, why not?
I'd say a zone really depends on the matchup, though. Like, I mean, of course
yes.
It depends on the matchup. I'm not gonna. You're saying that, and I'm like, yes. When we go to Nova and we go, well, maybe not Nova, but when we go to say MSG, I would say like, yeah. I mean, off the top of my head, and I don't know if Xavier's the best matchup to run zone against, because they're kind of reliant on making a lot of threes, which we know about Xavier. But anyway, yeah.
I mean, just if the 1-3-1, if you're running Fosa at a point, like your main advantage of doing that is that he's big and athletic. He's not like the most pure point. His handle is fine, nothing special, but he's big, he's athletic, and he can probably annoy your point guard. In a 1-3-1, if he's the guy up top, he's got long arms, he's just going to eat up space. It's going to be hard to get the ball past him. And then once you do, you lead into traps, whatever. I don't know. I mean, just the fact that we've been so bad defensively for this entire time, and just thinking about it, have we really ever seen a zone aside from that one game? Maybe there have been like a handful of possessions, but off the top of my head, I can't think of them. And I've watched just about every single possession of every single game these last 4 years. It's crazy.
I can't think of I off the top of my head. Yeah, maybe for like a minute here or there, but yeah, even if it's just like to switch things up. I mean, clearly, our man-to-man's not working. So yeah, we do need to switch. I just think throwing that every now and then, to Kyle's point, which we're about to talk about, Xavier, I don't know if I would do that against Xavier, just because that is pretty much the only way they score is like threes. They just a barrage of threes. But that seems like a common theme. I mean, I know the game is transitioning to more of a like long distance game, obviously, but like it feels like every game we go into, I'm like, just gotta protect the three. And then it's like then we just give up the wide open twos too. Whatever. Defense
just wait
bad.
till you play Seton Hall or Georgetown. Those teams can't make a jump shot.
Correct. Which I'm so sorry, Michael. It's just you have a rough fandom right now, man. That is
tough team.
It's That is just, yeah, it's perplexing. I don't know. Anyway, so let's try and put that week behind us, because as we said, we are technically still metrically very much in it. Like there's just, I mean, that's not even a subjective. You can't argue it. It is just objectively we are still in it. So let's talk about this next game. We got a Q2 opportunity coming up. Again, it's our first game facing someone not in the top half of the Big East. There's no one more thing. There's no obviously you have to win some of the games, but Butler has had a brutal start to Big East play. Like and even the home games, we still played easily the top 4 teams in our past 4 games. So it's not like we've exactly gotten to play. In fact, the only game we got to play someone less than that was Providence, and we won. So we're going to Xavier on Wednesday. Get to go visit our good old friends from Cincy. Again, it's a Q2 game. Q2 is not nothing. Q2 is absolutely something. And they just came off a win against Providence, pretty dominating fashion. And although the games before that, they lost to DePaul and Marquette. So it's really Xavier's one of those teams where, again, it's on the road, and in any game you can lose any game, especially in the Big East on the road. But it's really a game. I mean, you have to win this game, because Butler has zero true road wins so far. You have to win this one. It's just if you don't, it's pretty much that. Then you can really go into free fall. So again, Michael, I'll pass it back to you again. Kind of give us your breakdown of Xavier.
Yeah, of every Big East team, Xavier puts the least pressure on the rim. Like, just flat out, they do not get to the rim really whatsoever, unless like they're wide open. Like, pretty much when they're shooting a 2-point field goal, it's Trey Carroll on like the baseline extended with his little floater, and he has excellent touch from there. I don't want to like he makes it work, but that's really all they can get on the interior. Xavier's team, they're pretty simple. They don't turn the ball over, and they shoot a ton of threes. Some of their best offense is that 4-5 pick and roll with Borovichinen or Carroll as the ball handler, and then it's Milicevic, I believe is how you pronounce it, just popping for a 3 ball. That's really the core of what they do offensively. They want to play fast, they want to run, and they want to space the floor and shoot it. And they're going to do enough to not turn the ball over, and they're going to come in with a very good game plan. They're going to make adjustments that they're going to stick to. It's just one thing that they've done is they make an adjustment. It's like 1 or 2 adjustments at whatever point in the game. They'll stick to it, and if you can make the adjustment back and then beat them there, you'll beat them. And if you don't, you'll lose. Just they're pretty simple in that stretch. Borovich's got a decent jumper. Milicevic is shooting 42.9% from 3. All right, 43%. Like, they have a ton of shooters they can put out there, but they're not going to attack the glass hard. That's an advantage Butler should really have. And yeah, just you should probably be able to score on them relatively consistently. They're not a team that has good defensive rim rates either. Yeah, they won't draw fouls. They're literally just going to play pretty soft, play from the outside, shoot a ton of threes. Just run them off the 3-point line. You are the more talented team. Beat them on the glass, but if they're hitting, and they will find ways to take advantage of our 4-5 pick and roll defense, that's going to be a freaking nightmare. But yeah, it's the matchup you should win.
You pretty much just took everything that I play. I prepped for this and just took just about every single thing. I had numbers with it, but I'm not even about. I mean, yeah, defensively they gave up, like, they're 234th in the country in effective field goal. Like, on defense, meaning they give up good shots to teams. Like, their defense is just not very good. We just talked about ours, so it is what it is. And they shoot 36% of the team from 3. That's 71st in the country. They shoot 47.3% from 2. That's 301st in the country out of 365 schools. And like you said, they take care of the ball. Only 13.4% turnover rate. That's 10th in the country. So they take care of the ball. They shoot a lot of threes. And that's what they do. They play meh defense. So yeah. BSC, what are your thoughts on this upcoming Xavier game?
Yeah, I think that Michael kind of hit the nail on the head there. Xavier is, a team that's a little thrown together, and I think that they have had some games where they've definitely played above their skill level, where you've seen them knock off some decent teams. But they are easy to figure out. Yeah, they launch threes, pretty careful with the ball. Carroll can get hot down low, but I think in his biggest games, he hasn't necessarily been going up against the best rim protectors. I think Drayton's a pretty good matchup. And I think that Ajayi is just frankly going to be the best player on the court by a wide margin in this game. I think that he's really going to be able to control it just because he is just a nightmare matchup for them. They just don't have the physicality, and the way that he likes to play is kind of a nightmare for him. So I think he's going to have a big night, but we really just need to see some guys step up outside of him, because it's just been too much on his shoulders recently. Yeah, like Kyle said, he was somehow I think he was a +4 and played 30 minutes in a game that we lost by like 16, which is almost impossible. But it shows just how important he is on both ends. But I think this is a good matchup for us. It's a game you just have to win, and it's no disrespect to them because they are, they've played some decent games, but at the same time, like if you're going to make the tournament, and we're going to use a tough early slate of Big East play, as an excuse for dropping a couple games, it's just one that you've got to pick up. So I do think that Ajayi is going to be the difference maker. I just don't think that they have a matchup for him, but we need to see other guys step up. I think that Fosa could have a decent night, because I don't necessarily think that they have the defensive athletes to keep up with him. It's all about finishing, which he's done much more efficiently recently. He doesn't necessarily play. He plays a little bit of an SGA type game. I think he had like 14 points on 2 of 2 shooting a couple nights ago. So he's got to finish around the rim a little bit better and play more in control. But at the same time, I think we, like I said against St. John's, how it's a bit of a nightmare matchup because they out athlete us. I think we can kind of do the opposite with a couple of our guys in this game.
Yeah, I agree. And then also the other reason it would be you have to win this and it's unacceptable is you've had over a week to prepare. Like there's just no excuse not to be prepared for this game and to have adjustments in your back pocket, because you quite literally have had over a week. And if the last 2 games were not incentive enough for you to be just in the film room like 24/7, then I don't know what is. Kyle, how about you, man?
Yeah, I mean, BFC kind of took the first thing I was going to say, which is this is a team that we are more physically gifted than, like, just straight up. We're stronger, bigger. I don't know about bigger, but we're stronger and faster and jump higher for sure than this team. This is not a team that is going to out athlete really anyone in the Big East. However, credit to Xavier that they've figured some stuff out. Richard Pitino, I think, weirdly, even though they're I think like 2-4 in the Big East or something like that, and they've had some really bad losses. I think he's done actually a pretty good job for the roster that he had. I'm pretty impressed, especially given that some of the stuff that they didn't work out, right? Pizzato was injured, who's supposed to be probably their best player. And Anthony Robinson nobody was more wrong. And I don't know if there was a player that has just disappointed in the Big East more than Anthony Robinson. I mean, he was supposed to be their starting center and like a really bright spot for them, and he's just done nothing. They're really running out there with no true center. Milicevic, Borovic, and Carroll, all guys who are like a 4. So, I'm impressed by what they've done, but frankly, we're more talented. We're more physical. We should dominate the boards. Ajayi should absolutely be able to. I don't want to see, I know if he has to, he has to. I don't want to see him guarded by Borovic or Milicevic and settle for mid-range jump shots. I want to see him power into these guys. This is a matchup that I'll be I think the 4th out of 4 of us to say it. Xavier's no pushover. They just boat race Providence at home. But do you want to show that we're still serious about making the tournament this year and this staff is still serious about turning us around? You have to win it. You have to win it. No disrespect to Xavier, but yeah, I mean, we're more talented than them. Go win.
Yep. And I think Ajayi's gonna have a big game too. But one more thing is just we simply have to start hitting. I mean, we're not hitting shots. Like we can, like Creighton game is a great example. Like we had I think 21 offensive rebounds or something like that, and we had 18 points off of 21 offensive rebounds. That's actually insane. Like it's almost hard to do. I mean, we got to start hitting shots. Michael, let's go with your prediction for this Wednesday. Butler at Xavier. What do you got?
Yeah, I assume you guys are all gonna pick Butler, so I'm gonna be the one because I feel like if we all do, it's cursed. Versus if I don't, I think it'll help us. I'm gonna go Xavier 82, Butler 77. They hit like 15 threes, and I get sad.
Okay. I mean, you just made me sad just saying that out loud. But okay, VFC, what do you got?
Yeah, I think this is a game you got to win. And I think we can limit them a little bit. So I think 85-75 Butler.
Kyle, you're muted. You're muted.
Sorry, I was muted. I'm gonna say that, you know what? I'm just gonna go shoot for the moon as far as points wise because it could happen. Butler wins, but the defense doesn't get fixed. Butler wins 91-84.
Man, I'm just throwing a number out there, and I don't even know. I might go like 79-78 Butler.
Done the same bit like 5 times in a row.
Is that the Ken Palm number?
Yeah, that's
Do
the
they have it
cap.
70? Do they have it 79-78 Butler? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it was 81-79 Butler, and then it adjusted to 79-78 Butler. So no, all jokes aside, I do think we get this one only because I think that I like the Ajayi mismatch, and I do think we're the more physical team. I do think they're going to hit their threes, but I think for once, I think if we have the same Creighton game, they're not as talented as Creighton, hence why they lost by 41 to Creighton at home. So I think it could be something like that where they're hitting a bunch of threes, but I think we're able to cash in more often on our second chance opportunities. I think it's going to be high scoring as well. I'm going to go 89-84 Butler. What did you say? Wait, Kyle, what did you say?
I said 91-84. That's fine.
That's close enough. Yeah.
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 I just believe more in our offense than you do, I guess. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't believe in 90. I believe in 89. So that's what it is. But all right, yeah, no, Michael, I appreciate you taking that. So I'm gonna absolutely call you out if it ends up if Butler wins.
The burden I've chosen, and I accept that burden.
I'm gonna say, haha, like look what you did. But you're right. I mean, when you picked against us with Virginia, it worked out. That was pretty much it. So anyway, I don't know if there's been any other ones like that. Anyway, yeah. So again, Butler Nation, tune in this Wednesday. Butler at Xavier, huge game for the Dogs. Absolutely need it because then you head to Seton Hall after that. So, but this is a stretch where Butler definitely can, if they want to get back on track. This is where they can get back on track. 4 of their next 5, I believe, are against the bottom half of the Big East. So this is where you got to start building momentum back. But anyway, yep, this Wednesday, tune in. Butler Xavier, go Dogs. Let's do it.